Hey everyone, it's Colin. Hope everybody's having a great day today. I'm coming up on this building in a couple miles, and it reminded me of a story I wanted to share with you guys. You ever had like a bad month with things happening to you? Like whenever things could go wrong, they do go wrong. And that happened to me like several times, and I'm going to share them with you today. Some motorcycle related, some not. And there's definitely one out there that's going to be a little bit too much information, but I wanted to share, seeing if you guys could relate to these things, because it all happens to us. Well, I'd say about 3-4 weeks ago, I had to get implants done on my teeth. Over time, that my lower two left have disappeared, so I had to get implants. And if you've never had implants before, it's like a 2 or 3 step process where they have to put like titanium in your teeth and then makes it set and all that stuff. Then you go back and get the bridges and all that crap. But anyway, after I got my first thing done, you know, I go in, they do all their surgery and everything and put a bunch of gauze on me, give me some reds, pop it in, and they tell me, okay, listen, you'll be fine. You're going to wake up a little sore tomorrow in your mouth. No issues, just take the medicine we gave you and life is good. I'm like, okay, no issues. They're like, okay, so but when you eat though, you got to eat on the right side of your mouth because you can't eat on the left, obviously, because that's where the big gaping hole is. So that little building right over there, you see that brick building where that semi just passed, or that dump truck, that's the dentist's office I'm referring to. Anyway, so everything's cool. I go home, life is good. You know, I'm eating on the right side of my mouth, which really is hard if you've never done that, just eating on one side of your mouth. It's kind of a pain. I got through it, and I lay down, popped the meds, feeling a little uncomfortable, but nothing major, right? So I wake up the next morning, and I get up, funny taste in my mouth. I look at my bed, and I've got blood. I know this is really nasty. I got blood all over my bed. It's on my pillow, it's on my sheets. And I look at it, and I'm like, well, that's peculiar. I said, that doesn't seem right. So, and then my mouth is leaking, literally like leaking blood. So, of course, first thing I do is call a dentist. I'm like, listen, man, this doesn't seem like it's part of the procedure. What would you like me to do? So they're like, oh, that is a improper blood clot, we're assuming. You need to get in here right away. So, of course, I happened to be off the day, which was cool. Worked out very, very well for me. So I ended up driving, and my dentist is probably about, the one I just showed you, is probably about 10, 15 minutes from my house. So it's not too far. It's not too far at all. Now, remember they talked about that improper blood clot and I was leaking. So I kind of felt in my mouth like a bubble, like a blood clot, right? That was just sitting there and leaking a little bit. So I get in my truck, and about 5 minutes into the ride, let me lower my shield here. About 5 minutes into my ride, guess what happens? It burst, right? Now, for those of you that I've done a couple videos on this, it's been a while. I have a 2003 Toyota Tundra. It's an old truck. It's got a lot of miles on it. I love that truck. I'm going to keep it till it dies. Anyway, one of the issues that, because I've been lazy and I haven't fixed it, is my power window sometimes gets stuck on my driver's side. So obviously, this happened when that big blood clot decided to burst in my mouth. And if you don't know this, the taste of a big giant glob of blood in your mouth is not very pleasant. It's not like a steak or a ribeye or anything. So, of course, your first inclination would be, I'm gonna get like friggin' be a man, hawk it out, roll down the window. Of course, the window's stuck. So for 2 or 3 miles, I'm sitting here, and of course I didn't have any cups in the entire car, so I couldn't like spit it out. I'm not gonna spit it on the friggin' steering wheel, right? But I got a whole mouthful of blah, 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 you know, like, you know, I couldn't even talk. And I'm trying to, and so like with my window, you know, there's a little trick I've learned over the couple months that it hasn't worked, is if I bang on it hard, it's gonna go down eventually. So I'm driving down, you know, actually the road I'm on right now, banging the side of my freaking window, trying to get it down with a mouthful of blood. People are like probably passing me, looking at me, what the hell is this guy doing? So finally, after like 7 or 8 attempts, it broke, or it came down, but it would only go down halfway. I don't know what's going on with it. Obviously, I have to get it fixed. But it got down, and I tried to aim in that spot, and it's probably, I'd say, 7 inches I had to aim to get the so-called improper blood clot out of my mouth and into the earth to the side of me. Well, I missed. So now I have this big chunk of blood drooling down the side of the window and it's like going back and forth. So it's got, you know, the snot in it and the residue. So it's like just dangling. So like as I'm driving, I can see this keep whapping my window. So I pull into the dentist finally. Blood's all over my mouth. Blood is all over my truck, and it's not a pretty sight. So I want to let you know that when life, if like you think you have bad days and you pull up and you've got blood all over your pillow and you've got blood over your car, just think of me. Just think of me and kind of how I went through this. So long story short, they fixed me up. Next day I was good to go. It was an improper blood clot. I don't know why it happened. They said it does happen once in a blue moon. And, you know, but funny story. I know it's a little too much information, but hey, that's what you get from this channel sometimes. I'm really honest. The second thing that happened, and it's motorcycle related, and this isn't as good as the story as the first one. It's not as gross, at least. So I'm riding a couple days later. I think it was like 3 or 4 days later after I got that implant surgery done. And I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful day. I got to get on the ride. So I think I was going like 30, 35 miles per hour on a back road, just chilling, just enjoying a ride. Didn't even have any camera equipment on, nothing. I just wanted to get out and ride. And I was fixing my gloves. So, and for those of you that do this, I mean, normally sometimes you take both hands off your, you know, your handlebars right here just for a second because I had to clip this. As soon as I did that, I had the Harley death wobble. I mean, it was bad. It started shaking the whole, and I'm like, what the hell? I haven't experienced this at all. I haven't experienced it before where I put my hands up and I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do? So the first thing that comes to mind, and as soon as I put my hands back on, it's fine. It's just like it is now. It's completely normal. So I turn around, go home because I didn't want to mess with it at all. Get on Google, of course. And my first inclination before I even got home is like, okay, either the balance of the tire's off, fork oil could be something wrong with that, or probably the number one thing was your improper air pressure on your front tire. So I went to Google to check it. Sure enough, a lot of people said that on the forums, like, hey, check this, check this. And just so everybody knows, and again, I have these things to make my life easier. I bought one of those Fobo 2, the Bluetooth things. I know some bikes have it automatically on it where it tells you your air pressure, but mine doesn't. So I had to buy these little Bluetooth things, and on your phone it tells you proper air pressure. You think I did T-clocks before? You think I checked the tires? Of course not. I just get on the bike and said, oh, it's good. So lesson learned, I go home and I find out my tire pressure is about 15 pounds PSI below what it should be. I think, shoot, it was like 20. And as soon as I aired that thing back up, good to go, man. I went out and did a test ride. I'm going to run this yellow light here. Let's see. Is it going to be red? Is it going to be red? I didn't do it. Okay, cool. I made it. No police going to get me on that one. Anyway, took it out for a ride. No issues whatsoever. So it's just improper airflow. So the moral of the story is, don't do what I did. Check your freaking air pressure. Do your T-clocks. And then the last thing, a couple days later, I'm filming a video for this Custom Dynamics trim ring, headlight trim ring that I just recently put on. I did a video on it. And, as I'm taking off my old outer ring from the headlight, there's a gasket that's supposed to be on to hold the ring in place. So you get 3 of them, and 2 of them were there, but 1 of them wasn't. Okay, no big deal. I ordered a new one. So as I threw down the gasket on the ground and I got up, I tripped over my cord for a light. So I had like a light out there that films everything. You know, it films your actual video, so you bump up some light on close-up shots. Tripped over, thing fell and shattered all over my about a foot from my bike. So I've got these little glass shards everywhere. And this is, of course, right in the middle of the video. And when I put the video, obviously I didn't show this. I should have. But long story short, I had to get the freaking shop vac out there and clean everything up. Paranoid that it's going to pop my tire like some shard of glass. Clean that up. I'll order another light. Those things are cheap. At the end of the day, though, here's how I look at it, man. Stuff happens, right? I mean, it happens to the best of us, and we have bad days. But I still feel blessed. I still feel that no matter what is going on in this life, you're still going to think positive. I'm always an optimist. I always think of things like on a positive light, because why get pissed off? But damn it, I was pissed off for those 3 instances. But at the end of the day, it kind of all evens out. And let me end it with this. So we have a live stream that we do every Sunday on HDR and Bodine 52 on my channel. Then we have a different guest every week. Shameless plug. But anyway, I came home the other Sunday night. You know, I was at work, and then I got home late, and I got home to my garage, didn't have any beer. So I quickly ran out. This was like 5:20, 5:30, like 30 minutes before the show. Ran out, and I have a liquor store about about a quarter mile from my house, right across the street, basically. I went out, and I had to make a U-turn to get to this, and of course I didn't put my blinker on, and as soon as I put the blinker on, or as soon as I turned, I didn't have the blinker on, I got pulled over by police. It's a state police officer. So he pulls me over, and I'm like, shit. So the whole time I'm thinking, I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna be late. So this guy, you know, comes up, and I'm like, very, very cordial man. And he says, you know why I'm pulling you over? And I'm like, yep, I did the legal U-turn, right? And he says, absolutely. And I'm like, with all respect, I said this with all respect, can we expedite this? Because I have a live stream in like 15, 20 minutes. I got to go to the liquor store and get this. And he started looking at me, and I was like, shit, what did I do? I pissed this guy off. And he looks at me, he's like, you look very familiar. I can't place it. And I'm like, okay. I said, I don't recognize you, my man. And then he says, by chance, do you ride a Harley? And I said, yeah. And he's like, do you have custom dynamic lights on these? And he says, and I said, absolutely, I do. He's like, I've seen you on YouTube. You're that guy that you've done custom install, and I've actually bought something because of your video. I think he needed to tell me it was a saddlebag latch light that he bought. And I thought that was a trip. And we just started talking. And I'm like, listen, man, I'd love to chat, but I got this live stream I got to do. And he's like, listen, man, I'm gonna pop into that live stream once. Go ahead and get back on the road. Just watch the illegal U-turns. So unbelievable that all that happened. You know, you get your 3 bad things, and then sure enough, something like that kind of evens it all out, makes the world right again. Hopefully these stories are relatable, guys. Now get out there and ride. Be well as I fill up my bike, and I'll talk to you guys soon.